So this isn't not intended to be hostile or of intent in which I'm diminishing characters of others. I will use some analogies perhaps here that are kind of strong in character and could be seen as offensive, but that's not the intention. So humans have to eat. That's the nature of living. All beings essentially eat. You might make the argument that there's some plants that can photosynthesize sun, but they're still sort of taking energy from something else. And I don't know if that can ever fully be transcended. So this is an open question if we want to even transcend this. But there is a sense in which, if you think quite hard about it, humans are kind of vampiric in the sense that, we are sucking the blood of other life to survive. Usually in the sense of animals, although there's vegetarians and vegans and so forth that try to diminish that, but the very reality is that monoculture still kills a great deal of beings in the way it's done presently. There are some interesting things on the horizon, and that is kind of the primary focus of this, and the mulling over on a number of fronts of whether or not we ought to consider this as acceptable. Things like stem cell bioprinting, for example, where you can bioprint meat. That's really the first step. The next step, perhaps, is something closer towards nanotechnology, where potentially we can extract the nutrients we need from the matter around us without even needing to kill very low-level organisms. So on one side of this, there's something of a call to arms, something of an ideological spirit, in the sense in which, on the horizon, perhaps, we could transcend not only death for us for at least a long period of time, potentially. Not necessarily, there's always question marks here and big question marks, but more perhaps importantly is the fact that we might not have to kill to live, not even low-level organisms. This driver, if it's used as a real ideological driver, could potentially be a source for which we can ground a healthy movement of enhancing ourselves. Not so much from the narcissistic perspective of enhancing ourselves to be greater, although that will probably play some important role in it. But more importantly, enhancing ourselves so that we don't have to kill. We don't have to be vampires anymore. With that ideological push, if it's really taken to heart by a large number of people, it might be able to have the effect of steering the ship so that a lot of the Sith moves with the kind of powers here that we're talking about, and this is technologically enhanced powers. The Sith moves that are capable in that context can be steered around and perhaps held in tighter quarters than if there wasn't a greater ideological context of no longer being a causal agent of death. Be well.